what's promoted in the world today, in my opinion, is a lie. From education to college, all of it's a bunch of BS. It's a scam, man. Most people never see it for what it is, and it's unfortunate. They will never see it for what it is. They're literally indoctrinated.
Hey everybody, what's up and welcome to another episode of the Evolution Podcast. And with us today, as usual, is Ethan P. Heisey.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's good to be here. We got some great things to talk about, so I'm excited.
Definitely. And Mr. Terrence Johnson.
What's going on, guys? Hope everyone's doing super fantastic today, and look forward to our discussion.
Awesome. And myself, Sagi Schreiber, and Ethan and I are mentees of Mr. J. And today, Mr. J actually wanted to talk to us about something that I think is relevant to all of us, and actually something that came out of us mentees that we, eventually are coming to Mr. J with quite often. And that's basically how to find joy in life while we have the hustle and the struggle and the, building a business and family life and all of that stuff, all the responsibilities of life. So Mr. J, take it away.
Okay, absolutely. Well, first of all, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. And what we're going to talk about today is not losing sight of the joy of living in pursuit of your goals, in pursuit of the things that you're trying to obtain, the things that you're wanting to get done in your life, be it financial, business-wise, relationships-wise, whatever it might be, to not lose sight of the joy of living. Now, the reason I wanted to discuss this, I have quite a few mentees, and they're all wonderful people, and they're all doing very well in their own right. But often, being a little older, and most of my mentees are a lot younger than me, except one, I find that they're just in grind mode all the time. And there's nothing wrong with grinding. You got to stay on the grind at all times. I get it. You got to get the bag. I was the same way. But looking back on my life, if I was to say, what could I change knowing what I know now? What would I do differently? Well, what I would actually say is that I would hope that all of you enjoy your life, to take some time to just enjoy your life, where most of us are bogged down with our financial responsibilities, our family responsibilities, the company, whatever it might be. And this is life as such it is. We all get that. But nevertheless, it is imperative, in my opinion, that one find balance. And because if you don't think these things are critical, there's reasons why young people have heart attacks and strokes and things of this nature. I know it's not talked about a lot, but these things do happen to young people because young people experience a great deal of stress as well. Something I would like to say to all of you, just because you get older doesn't mean it necessarily goes away. What I found is you just learn to deal with it better, life itself, if you will, with money and all that, and even if without money, whatever challenges it might be. But what I want to tell you today is to try to find balance in your life. Take some time to learn to love yourself. Now, I say this particularly to men because we don't really converse like that. We don't chop it up like that. And I get it, but I'm too old for all that foolishness. At the end of the day, men, we don't go to the doctor. We won't go to the hospital. We won't get our physicals. You might get your prostate checked, check your colon, and all these things. Why is Mr. Johnson telling me all this? Because these are the things Mr. Johnson had to do as he's gotten older. And same with beautiful young women, going all those things, those exams and mammograms and all these things that are necessary for your health. Yeah, it's true. I know it's kind of cliche, but health is truly your wealth. But I want to add to that and say your peace of mind is critical as well. And so I don't want to be long-winded about it today, but how do I do it? Listen, it might be very difficult for many of you to believe this at this time, particularly if you're young. But as you get older, and I just want you to think about this, when I look at my grandmom, and my grandmother had 10 children, and I have one uncle, and from those 10 children came all those grandchildren, my mom and my brothers and my aunts and all of my cousins and, just so many family members. And as I've gotten older, many of them have died. My mom, my grandma, my grandfather. I'm just being honest with you. Life in the pursuit of your goals. in the pursuit of your home, your business, your car, your whatever. Life is continuously happening, the ebb and flow of it, if you will, to find balance. At the end of the day, all that I see that really matters is the people that you have around you and those that you love. Is money and business critical to one's overall existence? That's very subjective. To be honest, I enjoy being successful, but I don't want to sound hypocritical at all. But what one person deems successful, another person's success might be something entirely different. What I'm more or less wanting to assert to everyone is take the opportunity for those that are around you to let them know how you feel about them. And a lot of times we won't talk like this, and I get it, but I just think I don't think I know. I'm being a bit modest. I know that this is the truth. You must take time to find peace in your life. Love the ones that are around you. Nobody is promised tomorrow. Believe me. Believe me. And these circumstances and situations that we all must deal with as we get older, as we go through life, it's the ones who find balance who are able to deal with it in the appropriate fashion. I'm of the mindset of this. This is what's helped me, and I hope this will help you who are listening. If anything really rattles you, outside of maybe the death of your wife or child, something of that nature, you've given it too much energy. I've learned the more control you are of your emotions, of your mind, the better you are to deal with pressure, the better you are to deal with responsibility. And I often find, believe it or not, these are the very characteristics that make certain people highly successful. So with all that being said, find balance, love yourself, take care of yourself. As always, don't beat yourself up, build yourself up. Don't put yourself down. There's no reason to do that. One of the greatest gifts you have is your mind. When you wake up every day, there's no one in your mind but yourself. Be kind to your own spirit and soul. This is important. You don't understand these things when you're young, but as you get older and you start facing your own mortality, when you start having the mindset that you have fewer days in front of you than you have behind you, and you start understanding the cycle of life itself, I'm literally too old to give you anything that would waste your time and not add to your life in some positive way. I would just highly assert to all who are listening to find balance, to be kind, to take care of yourself, celebrate your victories, move forward with your life. Don't forget to be joyful. How do I get joy? It's easy. Joy is a state of mind. No one can make you happy. Remember that. It is your responsibility to make yourself happy. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever look to someone else to put that type of responsibility upon you, because you will never be able to satisfy them in that capacity. However, your happiness is entirely up to you and how one perceives themselves. So I just wanted to share that. And I hope that you're joyful no matter the circumstances. And listen, even if you're in a difficult circumstance right now, believe it or not, it is the old adage, don't give up. I would have never thought 10 years ago my life would be the way it is today. Believe me, patience has a purpose. Even adversity. Adversity comes to us for one particular reason or another, but nevertheless, if it does not kill you, it truly will make you stronger. It truly will. You are more powerful than you realize. You must come to understand. The name of this podcast is called Evolution. We must evolve. For all who enter this world must aspire to greatness. For anything less than that, it is apathy that will corrode us from within. I hope it helps.
Love that. Thank you so much. Ethan, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's great. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. That's it's neat. I know I was thinking about I was listening to another podcaster who went around asking the elderly inside what do they regret with their life, and they were mentioning that the two biggest ones were they regretted the things that they didn't do, that they wish they would have tried, and then they also regretted not spending more time with those they've loved.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. And go ahead.
Oh, well.
I was just thinking as you're saying that, should I have these big goals in my life and I want to accomplish them? Mm-hmm. Is there such thing as a work-life balance because I have these big goals of where I want to grow my business, but I still have my wife to care about?
Absolutely. Well, I would say this to anyone who wants to stay married. I've been married 27 years. It'll be 28 years next year. And let me just say this. I'm happily married, and I damn sure ain't no sin. Trust and believe that. Not at all. Far from it. You guys met my wife. I'm just telling all men, marriage is not necessarily a bad thing. I know it's a different generation, but I want to tell you something. If you want to be married, it's not a matter, I would say, of putting your wife first, because I don't roll with Marie like that. It's not a matter of Marie is second to me in anything that I do. Whatever I'm doing, we're doing it together. And what I mean by that is the way you get that work-life balance that everyone tries to find is in the relationship. It has nothing to do with the job. That's and I will tell you that when I look back, it has nothing to do with no job, because everybody got to eat, everybody got to pay their bills, you got to pay that mortgage, and your wife wants you to be successful. She wants you to be happy, and you want that, but yet you want to take care of her as well, because I might be spending a lot of hours doing these things. The deal is, if you want to learn to do it effectively, in my opinion, it's not the quantity of how much time you're spending together. It's the quality of the time when you're together. Now, say, for instance, you get together and say you grinding, right? You grinding. You on the grind. I got to do what I got to do. I want to scale my business. I want to do this. I want to move forward. Okay, cool. But I got my beautiful wife. I got my queen. It's the woman I'm in love with. Woman I lay next to every night. And she need that QT. She need that quality time. It is what it is. And a lot of dudes struggle with that. That's because they don't have no game. Straight up, they don't have no games. Jay gonna give you some game. It's real simple. The time that I'm with her, it's all about her, not the company, not the bills, not the kids, or whatever. It's all about my woman. So, and this what I had to learn. And I'm gonna tell you who hit me up on game. Believe it or not, gentlemen, it was my mom. My mom helped me. She told me, this is how you do this. So what I would say to you, and to any young man that's listening to me, if you're working 60, 70 hours a week, that's a lot. And you got to, put forth the appropriate effort to achieve your goals. But how do I do that and not lose my lady? And she's still happy, still in love with me, still want to cuddle with me and all other stuff men want from their ladies. When you with her, it's all about her. What I would suggest we do, what I had to learn to do as a man, was really try to listen. To me, with women, it has everything to do with how they feel. It really has nothing to do with logic. And I don't mean that as an insult, but with them is how I feel, regardless of what your logical position might be, because we real logical minded as men. But I had to learn this being married, 27 years. And I love my wife dearly, but I had to learn how she felt. And even though it might not make sense to me, I had to learn to respect it. I would always try to help her and try to work her way through it. You're going to have to go through that. But I would suggest to any young person, if you're married, you want to have longevity in your marriage, and not just be married, but be happily married. Okay. A lot of people are just married. You know what I mean? They're just together and they're not happy. They're not, me and my wife still cool with each other, man. So the way to go about that, I know it's a long answer, but I just know many people struggle to find it. And that's a great point, Ethan, that work-life balance. Is there really such a thing? If you can keep the relationship balance, that's what you're looking for. Everything flows from the both of you. It's not just you. Don't work that way. It's not. And it's not just all about her either. You one flesh, we're married. And both of you have to have great communication skills and things of that nature. So, but that's what works for me, man. The way I move, the way me and Marie move, if I'm moving, she know about it. She know what I'm doing. And the way, like I said, having great communication, and those things you just learn over in time. But yeah, it's a good point, because a lot of young couples struggle. Some have caused their marriage to fall apart. I've heard that with some of my mentees as well. Costing their marriage, or their children. And it's just sad too, man, because a lot of these things can be resolved with just good communication. A lot of us, understand what I'm about to say, because I don't mean this in a crazy way, but when you say to retard something, or something is retarded, I don't mean it from a person crazy. To retard one's growth, to stunt something in a person, is what happens with a lot of people in relationships. Their relationships they retard at some point. They stop growing. They stop growing together as a couple. this again can rob you of your joy. The topic of our podcast today. I see a lot of young guys that they're married, but they're not happy. And that door swings both ways. I got a lot of young women. Johnson, I'm not happy. Whoop de whoop. What do I do? You and Marie seem so happy. If you want to stay married, I would tell you the same thing I do with a lot of young couples I mentor. You got to be willing to go through something. Nobody wants to go through anything bad. And it's unfortunate, but that's life itself. There's an ebb and flow. That's why that vow says in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, for richer or for poor, till death do you part. A lot of people don't really be listening to it. They don't really buy into it. They don't really understand the commitment that you're making to a person. Why did I marry Marie? Because she gave me peace. Straight up. I found peace with that woman. I would tell any man that, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I mean? And that's what I hope that you have with your wife. You can create that peace by being peaceful, being peaceful as a man, be wise as men. You don't have to be overly emotional. We don't always have to argue and do the things that, a lot of the behaviors and characteristics that a lot of men demonstrate. It's not about being weak as a man. It's about being wise as a man. When one applies wisdom to one's life, surely life becomes much more easier to deal with. So, yeah, there you go.
Well, it makes sense. I wouldn't marry someone who causes you the opposite of peace. So
think about it, though. And listen. So to show you how grave of an issue that is, let's just keep the numbers simple. They say 50% of marriages end in divorce, right? So just think about what you just said, Ethan. Why would I marry someone who wouldn't give me peace? Well, half of the people are getting it wrong. That's how prevalent it is. And unfortunately with men don't talk, in my opinion, to other men about how to be married. How do I stay married, man? What do I do? You know what I mean? Everything's kind of geared towards a woman. It is what it is. Everything. It is what it is, man. But I'm 55 years old, man. I tell men straight up, you know what I'm saying? You have to be a man. You have to know how to be a man in the right way. You got to do the right thing, but you got to do the right thing the right way. You got to love a woman, but you got to love a woman in the right way. You got to raise your children and love them in the right way. You got to run your business and treat your employees in the right way. It's not just about doing the right thing. You have to do it the right way. And that's where a lot of people fall.
This is, 100%. And you learn the right way mostly by experience and trial and error in a way, right?
Well, you can learn. We all have intuition. Yeah. We all do. Man, listen, man. I tell people all the time, why are you so successful with your mentees? What do you do? What do I do? What do I do? I'm not doing anything to anyone. I make them realize it for themselves. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. Trust me. I'm not talking about gaining gainful employment and money. I'm talking about as a person. Every person knows what they do well. Every person usually knows what they don't do well. It would be equivalent to a person who is overweight, who knows they need to stop eating so much or eating wrong, and they won't do it. They might have a medical condition. There might be something you can do. But I'm just saying, for the most part, a person smoking cigarettes. I used to smoke. Mm-hmm. It says right on the pack, if you smoke these, it can cause emphysema, lung cancer. If you're pregnant, it'll cause low birth weight. Still smoke. The point I'm trying to make is everyone knows what they're supposed to do, right, wrong, or indifferent. The deal is, do you have the character to do it? It is really just that simple. That is the journey of life itself. Be it if you have money or if you're poor. Those are two vast different experiences, if you will, and I get it. But ultimately, none of those things has anything to do with character. And as I tell people, this is why a rich man can go to hell just like a poor man can. A beautiful, lovely, glorious woman can be in hell just like some old, decrepit, prostitute. There's no difference. And when people need to understand these things, man, this is what I tell guys, listen, work towards being the best you can be for yourself. Really put forth an effort. And what most men equate working towards the best to be with themselves just as money. And that's, I'm with that too. You got to get the bag. But I have many friends with money who are miserable. Many dudes with money got a lot of women, but no one that really love them. Trust me, they be on the sessions with me crying. What do I do? I didn't know that dating apps were a thing. I've been married for almost 30 years. I didn't know that's how the new thing goes. I didn't know anything about that, but I'm being educated. And I'm like, are you serious? I mean, you just don't know, Mr. Johnson. So, but that's a little off topic. But guys, listen, having that balance in your life, this is what I will tell you as men, and I'm just being honest. It all starts with you. It does. Yes, it does. It starts with you as a man. I am not one to subscribe to the tenements that men and women are the same. Not at all. I know we're not the same. I don't want to be the same. I enjoy being a man. I enjoy the femininity of my wife. I'm being honest with you. But it all starts with you, the kind of man you are, your leadership, your character, the way you articulate yourself, the way you express yourself in business and in life. Who are you? Who are you becoming? What are you trying to do? Are you happy? Are you joyful? Are you stressed out? Are you worried? Are you filled with anxiety? Many people are. Believe me. And I have to literally protect my spirit from all of this. Every day. I mentor people all day, every day long. And I enjoy it, but I understand the necessity of coaching. I understand the necessity of good verbal communication and being inspired and getting everyone to be aware of their own responsibility for themselves. For yourself. It is your life. And to getting them to believe that it's possible, because it is. There's another way, guys. What's promoted in the world today, in my opinion, is a lie. From education to college, all of it's a bunch of BS. It's a scam, man. Most people never see it for what it is, and it's unfortunate. They will never see it for what it is. They're literally indoctrinated into this way of existing and living and believing and thinking this is all life is and all life has to offer. Ethan, you brought up a very interesting point. You said you watched that or you heard that information on a podcast about the older people and what they regretted. Don't be like that, man. I have some regrets. I couldn't walk for the last 2 months. My crutch is right here. I could not walk. The last time we were together at the restaurant, my legs swelled up really bad. I had the drain fluid off my knee, and it was just really painful. And as I lay in the bed, all day for about 8 weeks, I would get up, come do the podcast, and the doctor said, Mr. Johnson, you got to stay off your leg. You get to ponder a lot of thoughts. You really do. Who you're around, what you talk about, your life, your grandchildren, your family. Man, listen to me. Life is short. Don't waste time living in fear. Don't waste time doubting yourself. Don't waste time not believing in yourself. Don't waste time not loving those people. Man, it's short, man. It's short, and it's going by, brothers. Trust me, and sisters. It's going by so fast. Be kind. Be the change you want to be. The world is in a rough spot right now. No one really wants to acknowledge it. It's in a rough spot, guys. You have war, natural disasters, all these different viruses going around, the economy's on the brink of collapse, and somehow, some way, you're still standing. It's just the truth. Protect your mind. Guard your spirit. Be the light. You must become strong. And in order for things to become better, it's simple. You got to be better. It's real simple. Whether you do that for affirmations, going to the gym, whatever, whatever you got to do to get there, you do what you got to do. But it really comes down to just, listen, guys, if you want things to be better, you got to be better. You want a great marriage, be a great husband. You want to have a great business, be a great businessman. Real simple. You want to be great, be great. I'm great. And how does Johnson how to become great? First, believe that it's possible for you. Real simple. Your mind is the gateway. You can do anything you want to do if you believe it, within reason. Within reason. So
I wonder how many people are not really believing that they deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm thinking,
yeah,
it's interesting. It's kind of like I used to not think that I deserve it myself. So I remember kind of like
you
being
know
in the
what?
trap.
But that's that mind into the matrix. Listen, man, the one thing that is a threat to any society is a healthy, free thinking people. Why would you weren't born thinking you didn't deserve anything? You weren't
Right.
born that way. Think about this. So if you weren't born that way, how do people become that way? Programming.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, man, I see the attack on men, on masculinity. There was no such thing as something called toxic masculinity when I was a teenager. I see it.
Yeah.
Cancel culture and all this stuff, man. It's crazy. I just don't understand it. But you know what? Different generation, different times. I'm on my way out anyway. I'm enjoy the rest of my life. With my beautiful wife. Hey, I'm honest. I'm being honest about it. But at the same time, life is worth living. You do deserve to be happy. You do deserve to be successful. No one, guys. You know what I tell my guys? I would go to these business meetings, and of course, you go to a business meeting in your suit and tie, and, you go to a boardroom, or whatever. And, people are always impressed with that crap. Ain't nothing but a facade, to be honest with you. It's just a damn office. And my guys be all excited. They go, "Oh, Mr. Johnson, man, look at this. Look at that. $1 million, $10 million, 3 million. Everybody's excited." And I learned something, man. I'm telling you the truth. Pay attention to everybody I'm listening to. Let me tell you something. Whether a man got $1 billion or a dollar, is just as much of an honor for the dude with the dollar, for that billionaire to meet him, as it is for him to meet him. It's just money. This is another thing you got to learn. Money is a game. It's the way you think, man, that gets you money. I'm telling you the truth. And most people, just think about what you just said, Sagi. I didn't always think that I deserved it. You're not the only one who thinks that way. And believe it or not, this is the sole reason why a lot of people don't have what they have. It's not that the world told them, no, you can't achieve that. That's not what happened. You didn't believe you deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
You just couldn't comprehend it. You know what pisses me off? You know what I hate? I will tell you this. Let me tell you one thing that pisses me off. I mean, this really rubs me the wrong goddamn way. When I hear other people envy people.
Mm.
Oh, man. I despise it. I mean, with the sickness. I hate that. I hate it. Because you know what I say? And I see people do it all the time. I say, you know what? You could do that too. You could do that. You could do that. What's wrong with you? But you know what else I learned too? You see all this white on my face? Some people just won't get it. They just won't get it. You got to learn to lead. Number one, know where you're going. And number two, be very selective who you allow in your circle. Be very protective who you're around. See, that's by being selective, you create peace. And you protect your peace that keeps your joy. A lot of times, this is what I told my mentee just the other day. I said, listen, do you have any problems? He said, Mr. J, I really don't have no problems. I say, so if someone come to you and tell you something or want something from you, see, they're creating that for you. You have to allow people to come in and create a problem for you for a problem to exist. All things must be created. Don't ever forget that. You say, Mr. Johnson, what do you mean? Anything that exists is created, right, wrong, or indifferent, bad or good. So all things must come from a point of origin, is what I'm trying to tell you. So if you want joy, joy must be created in you. If you want success, it must be created in you first for those things to manifest outwardly. If you notice, rappers do this all the time. Hip hop brothers, I love hip hop, but notice they keep speaking death and what comes to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you the truth. You keep speaking that, you calling it to you.
Yeah.
That's how this life works, man. Some people might think, oh man, that's far-fetched. I hear young people say this all the time. You can speak things into existence. That's exactly what you're doing. That's like literally what you're doing every day. And let me take it a step further. You not only can speak things into existence, you can think things into existence. You ever hear someone say move in what? Silence.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you move in silence, that means you're not really speaking much, right? So if you're not really speaking much, then how is it manifesting? Through your thoughts. This is what messes up a lot of relationships. You'll hear a woman say, well, I thought this, even though it might not be real. Your thoughts are everything. You got to understand these certain principles. Most men, you hear those older men in strip clubs, man, listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you the game they running on y'all, man. This is the game they running on y'all young folks. Don't believe in family. Don't believe in marriage. It's all about money. It's all about living luxurious life, living your best life, as you like to say, like young people like to say, no sense of duty, no sense of family, no sense of God, none of that. No sense of loyalty, humility, kindness, love, forgiveness. Man, those things are antiquated. Everything's about getting a bag, being on Instagram, being known, getting attention, and the family don't matter, deadbeat dads or whatever it is. And I'm just telling you, they're destroying the people, destroying them. I feel bad for my grandchildren. Yes, this is the truth, but nobody's gonna tell you young people that, because the most old people don't want to say nothing, which makes them cowards, in my opinion. We have a duty as the elders of society. They call us senior citizens or whatever. Don't they have elderly people? Well, it's the responsibility of the seniors to let younger people know, hey, listen, man, this is the right way. This is the wrong way. This is a good thing to do. Mr. Johnson sit up here and tell me to love my wife, treat her with respect. I ain't telling you to be no simp, let no chick talk to you any kind of way and run over you either. Hell no, I ain't with that. Not at all. Let me be clear. But at the same time, being forgiving, being loving, being kind, being, those things. If you had a child, this is what softened men up. A good man, anyway, is usually children. If you have children and you spend time with your children, that's what changed me. Having a child, my daughter, it softened me. I'm being real with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole different thing then, and when you hear your little girl call you daddy, or you go out the room, she start crying because you're not in the room, or she'll sit up and wait up till 1 o'clock in the morning to eat, fruit or whatever. It's a wonderful thing. You're not thinking like this when you're single. You're not thinking like this when you're married and don't have children. It's a different life. But as you go through the evolution of life, hopefully you're evolving in the right way, in the right character. And hopefully you're with someone that, as I stated earlier, and I love that Ethan agreed with that, that will have your back, that will bring you peace. That's what I would tell you, man, because the look's gonna fade, bro. You ain't gonna be having sex 5 times a day, every day. It's not gonna, I'm just telling you the truth. When you're young, you can buck like that. We all grown here. You get 45, 50, things different. It's the quality of time. That's what I learned, man. Be quality time. And you know what, man? Give family a chance. Give those, when you go through tumultuous times as a couple, try to remember why you got together. Your business is going through some stuff. It's going through some cash flow. It's going through some, you think I never had no challenges? Shit. You just got to keep going. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't give up on life. Life is worth living, guys. Life is worth it, regardless of the Jesus, man. It's rough out there. I feel bad. I'm literally worried for young people. I really am. I'm scared to death for what would happen if something catastrophic really happened in the world. I've lived my life. I'm 55 years old, man. Of course, I want to live to be 85. But, what about these 20-year-old kids, these 25-year-old kids, my grandchildren, the 10-year-olds, 11 years old, in the world that they're growing up in? And the lack of men. There's a huge lack of men, man. A lot of them in prison. You know what I mean? It is what it is. A lot of kids not growing up right, and society's moving in a certain direction. A message is being fed to the overall masses, and a few people, might do something different, but society is really going a metamorphosis change here. And I really believe that these individuals who might even respond to this podcast, I see it. It is what it is. But at the same time, you can still play your part in making the world or your world or the people you impact in your world a better place. Because literally that's all it's coming down to. You can only affect the people around you to a certain degree. Yeah. And I want to say this before I finish, because you guys are both successful. You guys, and I say this to all who are listening to me who are successful. You have a moral and spiritual duty and a responsibility to help someone else. Now, what I would say to you is be wise in who you help. Ask for a spirit of discernment, if you will. But if you have the resources, the time, the knowledge, the wherewithal, you have a duty and a responsibility. I'm letting you all know you have a duty. I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are, how young you have a duty to help someone. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. So, you guys are always so quiet after I say so.
It's always kind of like, okay, yeah, we're like processing information.
That's what everyone says, Mr. J. It's a lot to process.
Yeah. So I think regarding this is a good wrap up for the episode. But let's end it on a positive note, right? So what are, let's say, 3 things anybody can do today to live a more joyful life in the day-to-day?
What's the one thing you can do? Always start with gratitude. Just being grateful for what you have. Number 2, number 1, gratitude. Number 2, be loving. Your wife, your kids, tell them you love them. Even if they just walk up to them, give her a kiss, give her a hug, tell your kids you love them. Number 3, and lastly, forgive yourself. That's a big one. Forgive yourself so that you can do these other 2. Forgive yourself. Yes, forgive yourself so that you can do those other 2. Yeah. And I hope that helps.
Definitely. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a great wrap up. Guys, thank you again for listening and tuning in. If you love this episode, got value from it, please be sure to share it on social media. Just take a snapshot, share it, tag us on social media, and you can also rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That would go a long way and get more exposure to this episode. Thank you again, guys, for being here with us, and see you all on the next episode.